and just ride.
And
just come
ride
out
the
and
bike.
just ride to have fun.
Directions to Freedom Wall.
The Freedom Wall is 2 minutes from your location by car in moderate traffic. Here are your directions.
We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of the Freedom Wall. A year ago, it looked nothing like this with vines and very abandoned, but now it is a site to see, a destination to reach and visit, and also an opportunity to always educate other people.
Sometimes feel like I'm an old oak tree, just so bound by earth law of gravity, with my grounded feet just so very heavy that I just can't reach the sun. Sometimes see me as a sharp-edged stone. I was still born from mountain shed and fell below to be born by wind and sliced up by snow. Such a numb and lonely one. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no hand that could hold me down. I hold me to the ground. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no rope that could keep me bound. Ain't no hand who could hold me down. Ain't no hand, ain't no hand. Sometimes seems like I'm a cloud-bound town, built a man-made steel and a human power, braced to carry on, stand for years by hours, but can never own the sky. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no hand that could hold me down. My home ain't the ground. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no rope that could keep me bound. Ain't no hand who could hold me down. Ain't no hand, ain't no hand. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. No. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. What I feel it just comes and goes as summer flies and winter snows, but knowledge is as knowledge knows a deeper truth that goes and goes and goes, spins despite my will to play. My fear of something firm, but I can't hit its skin out, see it bleed on me, crack the fruit and plant the seed of hope, and hope will grow wings, 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 hope will grow wings. I'm gonna ride, gonna fly,
I'm gonna fly,
I'm gonna ride, gonna fly.
go fly.
Ain't no hand that could hold me down. My home ain't the ground. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no
bike lovers like Peaches Hunter and her granddaughter,
I like riding bikes.
it's time to rejoice. Slow Roll Buffalo is back for the 2019 season.
Come out and get a bike and just ride.
And
Just come
ride
out
the
and just ride
bike.
to have fun.
Directions to Freedom Wall.
Good evening, good neighbors, here in the present and in the future online. Welcome to the 2020 opening night of Slow Roll Buffalo Pandemic Edition. We're here with you live from around the city, where we're going to have a virtual roll with one single solo roller, guided by yours truly, your host, Seamus Gallivan. We're going to have a good time here. We're going to have a lot of great guests along the way. All the while, we better recognize the reason for the way in which we're gathering tonight. This pandemic has already taken in Western New York alone hundreds of our neighbors. Thousands currently are sick with it. Thousands more are on the front line, supporting them directly, trying to heal them. Even thousands more are supporting those helpers. All the while, all of us are affected. We're all here, of course, in solidarity in this together. And we, as Slow Roll, are here for this moment together. We're going to have to do it virtually for a while. And we're going to have to be creative and nimble. And we are here for it. Tonight, we're going to have a lot of guests. We're going to have a 10-mile ride, starting from our originally planned host venue, Slow Roll's On. We had intended to start our season at Babeville. So our friend, the co-founder of Slow Roll Buffalo, the president of our nonprofit We'll Be Heard, Tony Cofounder, has a helmet mounted. And we're going to rise to this moment. So Tony, go ahead, roll out from Babeville. And as we roll here, we are going to have 3 stops. Those stops will be our next 3 planned host venues for the Mondays in May. And when we get to those venues, we will announce our plans for the next 3 Mondays. Thank you, Tony, for riding along here. We'll start with checking in here as Tony's rolling with one of the members of our Slow Roll Steering Committee, the Community Outreach Director for Go Bike Buffalo, Rebecca Riley, in the house. Rebecca, are you with us? I don't hear you, but I see you.
I'm with you.
Hey,
I'm with you.
there you are. All right. We are rolling with the changes, figuring this out on the fly. Thanks to Mark Odian for producing this. We're putting a lot of work into this. We'll keep evolving. Rebecca, I see you. Rebecca has been so heavily involved with Slow Roll for years now. And there is so much that she's doing with Go Bike as well. So Rebecca, in the past 7 weeks, there are a variety of programs that Go Bike is continuing, evolving, and even some cases starting. Where would you like to start?
Well, we just released our plans for the 80-mile Southern Tier Trail, which you can find all that information about in the public conversation at southerntiertrail.org. Also, we're doing a bike match where we match people with extra bikes to people that need bikes. And we need bikes between the sizes of 6'4" and 5'2", and everything in between. Also, we're working on open streets. We're working on open streets type things. Hopefully get some block clubs in on closing down their streets and having places for people to walk.
Right on, and we'll be there with you to make that happen. Another effort that you have going on right now that we've been working on together and is you're doing it with your free time is getting the Queen City Couriers started, which Queen City Couriers have been doing amazing work. Let's tell everyone all about that.
So Queen City Couriers started about 2 months ago, and they are up to about 320 deliveries right now. They deliver groceries to folks that can't leave their house and need groceries really badly. And we work directly with Push Buffalo, who's a great partner. They're all about sustainability. So this kind of works with them too. And we've got about 14 couriers. They were just on the news today on Channel 2, if you want to check it out. And they're doing some really creative and fun stuff while doing some good stuff.
Beautiful, and that's a perfect segue for our first stop. I don't know if we're seeing, if Tony's route is still showing. He looks to be like his screen's frozen, but right about at this time, yeah. So ride along with us, folks. Pretend you're on your bike, get on your stationary bike at home and go for a ride. Maybe this might be reduced to just a talk show for now. But our first stop on our virtual roll, we've created a new route just for this tonight, is where we intended to have Slow Roll next Monday on May 11th, and at 429 Plymouth, the old School 77, the new home of Push Buffalo. And so we have some friends from Push on the line to talk about not only what they've done at School 77, but what we're doing together with Queen City Couriers and what we're going to do together for the next week and beyond. Rawa, let's bring in the director of Push Buffalo, Rawa Gramatzian. Rawa, you can hear me. Can you see me?
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Seamus. And thank you to everyone out there that is listening. I hope and pray that you're all staying safe and healthy and practicing good social distancing as we all try to flatten the curve here in Western New York. I also just want to say that I so appreciate Rebecca and the amazing work that the Queen City Couriers have done to help us distribute food, medical supplies, diapers, and formula to so many folks in our community that need it very much in this moment. Mid-March, we very quickly pivoted to address the issues of the COVID-19 crisis and to make sure that we were casting as wide enough of a net in our community, a safety net for people that would be impacted. And so some of the things that we've done in the last few months, and it's been a very iterative and evolving process. We also have done this in collaboration with many amazing organizations across the city. And that is to provide rent holiday for our 99 affordable housing tenants, as well as our 5 commercial tenants, including Alex right there from African Heritage Co-op, who provides amazing food, healthy food for our community. And we've also decided to provide food deliveries, groceries, and diapers, medication, and other kinds of things in partnership with Queen City Courier. We've provided about 1,300 families with groceries, much needed groceries over the last 6 weeks. We're also providing cash assistance to men and women in our community throughout the city of Buffalo that are currently being impacted by COVID. And we're also working with a lot of amazing community organizations and providing them with much needed REAP grants to do mutual aid, which is all about solidarity, and it's not about charity at all. It's about each neighbor taking care of our neighbors. And one of those organizations is Grassroots Gardens, which is very much interested in working with everyday residents and block clubs to grow as much food as possible to provide for our community. So we're providing them with one of our large community gardens and about $5,000 in seeds and other kinds of equipment to get folks going to grow food for neighbors. So I will stop there, Seamus, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go over, Rabah. Thank you. There's just so much that Push is doing and so much that we're going to keep doing together. So now that we're at, we don't have the visual with Tony to show it, but now that in our virtual slow roll, in our minds, welcome to 429 Plymouth, the old school 77 Push Buffalo. Rawa is essentially the speaker as we arrive for the mass up, which veteran slow rollers know. We always stop a couple times on the ride, and wherever we stop, we learn a bit about the place we're in. But we don't only do that. We also have some refreshments while we're there. And so, boy, what a good time for lemonade. All around the world, when life hands you lemons, we are all making lemonade. And when you come to Slow Roll, you can get lemonade made right here in Buffalo with real fruit by a wonderful family who we got to know through the Rafi Green Center's Young Entrepreneurs Program, has become a fixture at Slow Roll, and they're with us now. Olivia and Janelle from Libby's Lemonade. Welcome. I see you, Olivia. Can
Yes, I can.
Oh, you were supposed to give me a thumbs up. Hold on. Tell them to hold. Give them a finger. Hold on. Tell them hold on.
Maybe the newest, freshest bottle of lemonade in town, the blood orange lemonade. I want to ask you, before we talk about lemonade, Olivia, you can give us all perspective that none of us know anything about. What is it like? How does it feel to have the rest of the school year canceled?
I'm actually pretty upset about it because to me, I actually kind of like school. So, like, it was already kind of hard not being in the classroom while learning. So now that we're not going back for the rest of the school year, it's still going to be kind of hard to keep up with all of my work that I have to do.
Yeah, what do you must miss your fellow students too, right?
Yeah.
So you're at home more, you're keeping up with your work, I'm sure, and you are making lemonade, and you're gonna start selling lemonade soon, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us all about when we can start getting lemonade from you.
So our season won't be delayed this year, and we will open up on Memorial Day, and our hours will be 12 to 4.
And where exactly will that be?
You can find us off of East Ferry on Chester Street, and to contact us, you can call us at 716-220-8348.
716-220-8348.
Yes.
For Libby's Lemonade. If you want to know where East Ferry in Chester, that's just a couple blocks away from the Freedom Wall.
And also, to find out more information, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Libby's Lemonade Stand. It's all one word.
Awesome. It is so nice to see you, Olivia. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that you're keeping up with your schoolwork and you're keeping up with your lemonade production, because we are coming for it as soon as it's available. So Memorial Day, I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for joining us. We love Olivia and her mom, Janelle, and her whole family that joins us at Slow Roll with Libby's Lemonade. And again, I'm so glad to have some with me now. Again, what a time when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. So we're at a mass up now for Slow Roll, right? We're stopped at Push Buffalo. Libby's Lemonade Stand is slinging lemonade. And also, Slow Rollers know we are joined at our mass ups by the Kitty Kickstand crew from the African Heritage Food Co-op. And joining us now to catch up on everything that they are doing is Alex Wright, still with us? No, he's not. Well, we had him. All right, well, we're making lemonade, right? I'll tell you all about the African Heritage Food Co-op as best as I can. So our friends at the African Heritage Food Co-op are selling bi-weekly produce boxes with delivery. And look them up, African Heritage Food Co-op, website, Facebook. And you can purchase a box of fresh produce for yourself. You can also purchase another box to donate in solidarity for someone in need. And again, they're offering delivery. And Alex was joining us from their store in Niagara Falls. They have a location up there where we had intended to have a ride this May. Our Niagara Falls pedal party is postponed, of course. But we're all going to continue working together. We were going to have Slow Roll in June at the African Heritage Food Co-op's coming location in the Fruit Belt. And so if June 22nd, we are still doing it this way, then our virtual roll will be all about them. But for now, we recognize that they're part of the mass up, they're part of that first stop. But as we keep rolling, I know, Tony, if we can't see him, we know that he is riding on to the next stop, and we'll reveal it when he gets there. But for now, let's stay with Push, and let's talk about what we are going to do for the next week and our plans for our ride next Monday. So we're kicking off here with a virtual roll, and we're going to keep doing it this way as long as we need to, and we're going to do more throughout the week. As Slow Rollers know, we're not just a one-night event. We're not just a bike ride. During the week leading up to every ride, we talk a lot about the place where we're going, the people we're going to meet along the way, and the people who are involved in it. So back to Rawa at Push, we are going to call next Monday's event the Solidarity Roll. And we are going to keep supporting the Queen City Couriers as they continue to do food delivery in coordination with Push Buffalo. And Rawa, can you explain to us what Push's new mutual aid hub is all about?
The simple description of it is that mutual aid has been around for, millennia, and that it's about a neighbor helping a neighbor, and it's really about solidarity and not charity. So the work that we do isn't because we see people's charitable cases. We just see that right now, in particular, because of COVID, our community really needs help and assistance. We are asking people to stay home, shelter in place. We're asking people to practice good hygiene, and we need, in particular, vulnerable populations to practice safe social distancing. And many of the people that we serve in our community, which is a frontline community, because of the legacy of racism, because of the legacy of environmental racism, oftentimes our community members have disparate health outcomes, meaning they are already the vulnerable community in that they have high rates of diabetes, high rates of hypertension, asthma, and those things happen because of the underlying issues of our current systems that are incredibly extractive. And what we've been working on for the last 15 years is to create regenerative economies where people have the self-determination to be solutionaries in the problems that we're all facing. And so as we address issues of high pollution in our community, oftentimes we live in what is known as food deserts, and a lot of just economic injustices that occur. And so the things that we've been doing at Push around land ownership and community control of resources, trying to dissipate a lot of the pollution when we think about the Peace Bridge and other kinds of pollution in our community with renewable energy and thinking about the renewable economy, good paying jobs that pay family sustaining wages, and creating affordable housing. And so the solidarity that we are about is working with our neighbors who oftentimes have the best solutions for the policies that should be enacted in our communities so that everyone is thriving. And so in light of that, we decided to move to providing mutual aid in solidarity with our community to get them the things that they needed so that they can actually remain safe and healthy while staying at home.
Thank you, Rawa. And you mentioned food desert. We have Alex back on the line with quite an interesting angle. Looks like he's driving. So as we talk about food desert, now interesting when we talk about the terminology, we're out here talking about having a solidarity role for the next week. And when we started in our response after the shutdown began, we started a series of social distance rides. And we consulted with public health professionals. We consulted with the city and county. And want to give a big shout out to our presenting partner, Independent Health, who we consulted with along the way on that and continue to. They are supporting us so much that we can really just keep this going. And while this unfolded with social distance being the term of the day in mid-March, there's some problems that emerged with that term. That a lot of the people that push is delivering to, Queen City Courier is delivering to. Social distance is a problematic term because it implies social isolation, and there's already a lot of isolation. Physical distance is really a better term. Solidarity is a better term. The understanding that we're all intertwined and that we rely on each other. Interestingly, as a segue to bring Alex in, when we talk about food deserts, there seems to be a transition to a term called food apartheid. So Alex, thank you for joining us. And we know that the African Heritage Food Co-op in its founding is all about fighting food apartheid. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, definitely. And the reason they use the term food apartheid is desert is a natural occurrence, right? So usually, like, no one calls Hiroshima a desert, right? Because it was on purpose. When you look at our city, you look at the history in the 50s, in the 40s, and the 50s, when we had what's called white flight, and people left the city. And when they left the city, they took resources, took the grocery stores, took banks and loans and things like that. So it's not a mistake or by chance this happened. It was a design. So that's what the term food apartheid comes from. But food desert is also used a lot too. So yeah, we started as a means of the people who live in a place fixing the issues that are happening in that place. And that's what the food co-op is. We're really excited to be here, excited about all the great work that all of you are doing. Rawa and Push, Rebecca, everybody that's on this line. Thank you guys for all that you do. Special shout out to Push for doing this. They're doing this work with Cooperation Buffalo, where they are helping cooperatives. So we've been able to be a beneficiary of that. I know a bunch of cooperative ads, so that's definitely super dope. And shout out to Andrew and Rawa for putting that together. So what we would normally be doing right now is we have our young people out doing kitty kickstand, right? And that's an entrepreneurial program where we're teaching young folks to be business people, right? We think that we talk about a lot of stuff in inner city. We talk about poverty a lot, and we do a lot of initiatives. But one thing that we have to do is make sure people can be self-sufficient. Our poverty initiatives, typically, like the way they are federally and in our city, it doesn't attack the actual poverty, right? We subsidize it in a lot of ways. So if you're so poor, we can do things for you. And what we're trying to do is not only eradicate food apartheid, to combat the price gouging, so people have to go to their corner store and buy food or edible non-foods in a lot of regards, and in a lot of instances. And, they're victims, they're being victimized 2 or 3 times over. Okay, no problem. So that's what we're here for, and it's been great. Okay, so, well, I'm going to jump off in a second, so you'll be able to squeeze back in. But I just wanted to, just be thankful that we're here. Our kids will be out right now, and, we've been able to do, what do we do so far? We've done 490 bags in the last 3 weeks, and we have another 2,000 going out this week into early next week for people in the community. So what we did is people were able to buy a box themselves and then donate a box to somebody in their community. And that just went off really, really well. And we're going to continue to do that. If anyone's interested, they can go to our website and get a box for themselves and donate a box to somebody in the community. You can also help us bag stuff, however you want to get involved. But, you know, Seamus, I love what you're doing. I wore the Shamrock shirt for you today in solidarity.
Well, I appreciate you,
Okay.
Alex, right down to the shirt. We'll leave you to get back to your deliveries, and we'll keep it going, brother.
Thank you, guys. And again, thank you all for all the great work that you do.
Peace.
All right.
Now we have so many people on the call here. We have so many more to come. I understand Tony's back in now, so we can get some live scenes from Tony on his solo role. And also, like, well, we also want to bring in here, speaking of solidarity, and you're reminding me of, there's a program from Go Bike that's going on right now that has launched since all this hit, and has been able to connect with one of our mutual friends, Rawa. Rawa's alluding to a line that I learned from our friend India Walton: the people closest to the problem are closest to the solution. India taught me that. We got India a bike. She hadn't been on a bike in 20 years, she said, but she's been wanting to ride. We got it through Go Bike Buffalo's bike match program, one of the many things that Go Bike is doing since. Let's bring in Stacy from the Go Bike Buffalo workshop, who's on here to talk about not only bike match, but the way that the shop has reopened as an essential service and much that's going on there. Stacy, it's great to see you. Tell us all about what you're doing.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we, normally at the Go Bike Workshop, what we do is we teach people how to fix their own bikes. So it's a lot of hands-on learning and helping out, our disadvantaged populations with their bikes. And since everything happened, we obviously can't have people in the shop right now. So we've switched gears a little bit to doing repairs by appointment, as well as selling our low-cost refurbished bikes online instead of in person. And then we also have, like Seamus was saying, we have Bike Match, which if you have a working bicycle, you can link up with that and we'll match you with a person in need of a bicycle. So if you need a bicycle, you can also go on there and request the type of bicycle, how tall you are, and things like that. And then we'll make the match, and then it's up to the two folks to organize a socially distant way to get the bikes to each other. So it's a great program. I think we've had a handful of matches so far, so keeping it going.
And how can people get involved here? I know that the hours of the shop have changed.
Yeah, so we're not really open as far as like open to the public, but we are taking donations. We definitely always need bikes that we can get fixed up and get ready for folks. So we're usually there 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We have a rack outside where we're asking if someone has a bike that they want to donate to leave it there. And then, we leave it out for a little while and bring it in so that we can fix it up and either get it out to somebody that needs it, or, we got a lot of our after school and everything like that. A lot of those things canceled. So we're trying to figure out, and also some ways to get some bikes to the kids that missed out on that this year. So all kinds of bikes in any condition, we will take them.
Loud and clear. Thank you so much, Stacy. We're going to keep encouraging people to get their bikes. If they have extra bikes that they can part with, donate them to Go Bike. They will refurbish and redistribute them. If you need
a tune-up or something like that, the weather is getting nicer, so you can also make an appointment with us and we can help you out with that.
Beautiful. And that's the shop at 98 Colvin near Linden. Yes. Keep it going, Stacy. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you there soon.
Thank you.
So back to Rawa. Rawa, we are going to have ourselves a virtual slow roll on Monday, May 11th. Next Monday. Can you give us a little, we'll spend the next week, so we'll be informing anybody who's interested in participating through our website, slowrollbuffalo.org. encourage everybody, by the way, also subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got a lot of videos on there. Stacy's in one of them. Rebecca's in them. We've got a dozen of them up so far. There's plenty more to come. So go to that YouTube channel, Slow Roll Buffalo. I'm not the best YouTuber, so I don't know. Like, smash that like button. I don't know. Follow the Facebook group. We'll have plenty to come, especially over this next week as we direct our attention over to Push Buffalo, where we would be gathering in mass next Monday, May 11th. Instead, we might be gathering in this way. So, Rawa, will you tell us what will Push Buffalo look like at 429 Plymouth on Monday, May 11th at the Mutual Aid Hub?
Yeah. So we imagine that our folks are going to see the things that we're providing in the way of mutual aid to folks. And that's like groceries, household cleaning items, and we'll see a food distribution center. So we box things up, and that's when Queen City Couriers or other volunteers come and take them to actual community members. And I'm also hoping that we'll have a route that shows a little bit more about what Push Buffalo is, maybe an opportunity to see our Net Zero house at 10 Winter, some of our community gardens where community members actually grow their own food, some of our commercial tenants like Feed Buffalo and Black Monarchy, and then, of course, just some of our housing in particular, School 77, which was really just a big community asset that was renovated to 30 affordable senior housing units. The place where the auditorium is converted into a theater. That's where Ujima Theater Company, a 41-year-old political activist theater company's house, a piece of the city that serves youth that are ages kindergarten all the way to high school to seniors. And they do things like they have social enterprises there where they actually build a bike and partner up with Go Bike Buffalo to refurbish bikes and sell them to community members. They make jewelry, soap, and candles to help with their programming. They do in-school and after-school help. And also they do their big Shakespeare Comes to 716 arts programming. So I hope that's some of the stuff that folks will be able to see live on next week's Slow Roll.
Same here. Thank you, Rawa. We're gonna bring them all in. What do you say next Monday when we do this live? We'll have the Peace Crew and Miss Lorna. I have a little guest lined up for next week for the after party portion. If anybody's watching and just tuned in, we're going to have an after party still, the Slow Roll, starting at 8 o'clock when the ride would normally return. We'll have live music here tonight. We have 4 performers lined up, and I talked with someone today who is going to hopefully join us next Monday. She's down. I'll give it out. I'll give just enough of a hint that maybe some will know and the rest will be left to guess. But she is our link to Lizzo. Did I give it away for you? Do you know who that is?
Thing?
We'll leave it there. Plenty more to come with you, Rawa, over the next week. Appreciate you joining us so much. Thanks for all the work you're doing, and thanks for allowing us to be part of it. We got a lot more to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone, and stay safe.
Peace. And it looks like we got some ride footage back with Tony. Would you look at that? Now we're having a virtual roll. So Tony is, oh, that's Niagara Street. Okay, Tony is rolling down Niagara Street from Push. You can see City Hall in the backdrop there. There is a green painted bike lane. Well, isn't that nice? Rebecca's on with us too, although I can't see her. So we'll guide you here from the Lower West Side. This is going to be part of our route on opening night. And we were going to stop where he's about to approach is where the Shoreline apartments are in the middle of being destroyed. They were pretty significant architecturally. They were left in poor condition, and there are a lot of people living in that neighborhood who are affected. And we were going to stop there as Push is heavily involved in housing. That is the H in Push, People United for Sustainable Housing. Instead, Tony's going to keep riding for a while, and we'll let you know why and where when he gets there. In the meantime, Rebecca's here. And so Rebecca, can we talk a little bit about the Queen City Couriers and how we've been working with Push and how we can continue? Let's explain what they're all about, what they were intended to be, and how they have responded to this moment.
Well, Queen City Couriers it's not a new concept. It's actually a concept that is adopted from a lot of other places around the world. Just to the north of us, there's a bunch of couriers that are taking truck work, and they're taking really large deliveries on trailers and cargo bikes, and they're called Send It Courier in Toronto. And from my past experience being a bike courier, it naturally came to me that when Push put out that they were going to deliver food and groceries and stuff, I thought maybe they weren't quite ready for that. Maybe they needed a little help. So I reached out to them and I said, there's a courier company here and they would probably deliver stuff for you. Are you interested? And they were very interested. They didn't quite understand how capable these guys are, though. And they just gave us a couple of deliveries at first. And then it really kind of dawned on them. They're like, wow, we can really use these guys. And I reached out to Queen City Couriers. They had talked to me about a year ago. They wanted to know about the courier business around the world, and I wrote a book about it. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of people in the business still, and the trend is going towards cargo. And frankly, a lot of people are really enjoying the clear air and, considering the idea of riding a bike. Maybe they haven't ridden in a long time. But this is a quantum leap forward. This is really demonstrating what bikes can do, how we can knit our communities together with bicycles, how we can be part of the solution and be a part of traffic that's not part of the problem. So we offered, and I sat down with guys one weekend and we just put in a long couple of days before Monday hit. And I developed a dispatch system where I could step back and they could take over. And it's been going really great. And people are having a lot of fun doing it. They have, thanks to Go Bike has loaned the large trailer, and it has also loaned the Bob trailer. And there's another trailer I think they're thinking about lending too. They've helped out the couriers with their repairs because they're essential workers, which is so sweet. So, there's just a lot of goodwill coming out of this. And to be honest, the guys, they're just loving doing this because they get so much love in return. So right now they're up to about 320 deliveries and they're going real strong. They have about 6 potential clients on a wait list. They can't do all the work. They don't have enough people. But soon they're planning on moving the operation, the hub operation, to School 77. And at School 77, it'll be one-stop shopping. They'll pick up the groceries, and in some cases, Shane Paul takes the large trailer with totes on it. And if you see the piece that Channel 2 did this morning with Shane this morning, you'll see the totes and how much weight he can take on that thing. And today he took out he got about 6 or 7 deliveries done really far from downtown, like all around the ring of downtown in 2 hours or 3 hours rather. It was incredible. And it was just him. So there's a lot of potential, and people don't really understand something till they see it. Like you could describe a cargo bike and people say, oh, that's nice. That sounds nice. But then when they see a little person pushing a cargo bike with 3 kegs of beer on it, it's a completely different thing. Then they get it. Then they understand it. So I hope, they've made a really good impression. They're very much have their heart in it. Everyone that's working is developing a lot of camaraderie along the way. And I hope that it turns into something that pays them because it's hard work and they deserve to get paid. But for now, they're happy to just do something to help.
Right on. Rebecca, I'm watching Tony's ride scene. He is riding past 201 Ellicott. How about that? Maybe you can tell us how Go Bike's involved right there before we get back to Queen City Couriers.
They're doing a TDM plan. It's so, I forget what it's called. It's with Katie Sullivan in the GB and RTC, and it's managing transportation for large buildings. And 201 Ellicott actually does not have a whole lot of parking spaces on purpose. It's encouraging uses of alternative transportations. And there's actually a lot of really great things through the 511 app. It's a New York State commuting app that can really help you get out of your car and do something, get to work in a more green way. So there's a lot of really good stuff going on.
Yeah,
with that.
mobility hub. So, so props to the folks at 201 Ellicott for being willing to weather the parking storm. Oh my God, you don't have enough parking. There is plentiful parking in downtown Buffalo, as we say every time that Slow Roll is downtown and people ask, where do I park? Well, there are 37,000 public parking spots in downtown Buffalo. We don't need any more now. But I digress. Tony's riding his way. Looks like he's making his way toward the first ward right now. I want to get back to the Queen City Couriers and what we're going to do over the next week. Oh, there's the old handlebar right there, right on that corner. Handlebars. Yep, that was the first ever Slow Roll in 2014. Was our host there, Handlebars. Shout out to the Schneider family. So Tony's rolling down Michigan, making his way into the ward. So Queen City Couriers has been working with Push. We got to shout out Shane and Ben and our squad members, Karen Huffman and Clay Davies. Jenny Baggio was in doing a lot of deliveries. I've done a few I know how hard this is to haul this stuff around. And this mobility, this mutual aid hub at Push is going to make it easier. So we got to say how much we appreciate not only Push having the faith in the Queen City Couriers and then the Queen City Couriers following through so much that Push is prioritizing them as part of the support that's coming in through the mutual aid. So to explain what we're going to ask of all y'all at home, while we are not able to ride all together, we can stay connected as our greater community, as our Slow Roll community. We will continue to connect our community and inform folks on ways that they can get involved and support good things that are happening. And if you're at home right now, if you have the means to support some things that are frontline mutual aid, like Rawa said, solidarity, not charity. We're not putting our hands out saying, please help us. We're putting our hands together and saying, join hands with us and help. And one way that you can do that from home is by supporting Push's Mutual Aid Fund, by supporting the Queen City Couriers, and also, as Rawa said, by volunteering. So Rebecca, can you explain how folks can donate to and volunteer for Queen City Couriers?
Well, if you want to be a courier, you need to contact me at rreilly, REILLY, at qccouriers.com. And I will set you up with a little courier handbook. It's wise if you want to be a courier if you actually have a rack or a trailer, because it's a lot of weight and you're not necessarily going to want to carry that in a bag, and it may not fit in your bag. If you want to help us out by donating so that they can get some better equipment for the couriers, you can go on the website and there's a donate button at qccouriers.com.
Sweet, thank you. And so now Tony's going over the Michigan Lift Bridge. So he's just past the Edward M. Cotter fireboat. Looks like the sunset is looking nice. General Mills plant on the right. Probably smells like Cheerios, maybe Lucky Charms. Whatever your favorite General Mills cereal is. So when he makes this left turn here onto Ganson, some of y'all might be thinking that our next venue is Riverworks, which is coming up on the left, and it's not. But we have been to Riverworks before, and we've had a great time there. But he is going to keep going all the way down to the other end of Ganson Street. Rebecca, while he's doing that, we've talked a little bit here about Bike Match. We've talked about Queen City Couriers. We've talked about what's going on at the shop. Can we dig a little bit more into open streets and what other cities have been doing just in the last 6 weeks, and how we can learn from the past examples of open streets, the present evolution of it, and how we can do that here in Buffalo? And why, frankly?
Well, the reason why we want to encourage people to do open streets, starting with block clubs and neighborhood associations, is because there is a resistance of our city government to actually open the street to just people walking or riding their bikes, and closing the street to anything but local traffic. Now, the reason behind this is if you actually were wearing a circle that was 6 feet in radius, 12 feet in diameter, that you would not be able to walk down most streets in Buffalo and pass somebody on the sidewalk. You just couldn't do it. If you were both wearing a big circle around yourself, somebody would have to walk in the street and somebody would have to walk on the grass. And chances are the grass is wet and all muddy. So social distancing is a really serious concern. You know, people are cooped up in their house for weeks on end. And there have been cities like Philadelphia where they actually have seen such an uptick of people going to the parks and just flooding the parks, flooding the bike trails. And they need to put them somewhere where they can stretch out and not be so close to each other that they're actually getting the aspirated molecules from, infected people. It's one thing to wear a mask, but it's even better if you have 6 to 8 to 12 feet apart. So places like Delaware Park recently, our city, on our prompting, we asked them, Go Bike asked them to consider shutting down the ring road, because really, is there a need for cars? I mean, the traffic rate has gone down exponentially. And I have noticed, I've been doing a lot of research on the subject, and in New York City and Chicago, because there's so little traffic, it's gone down by something like 60%. People are driving faster, and the crashes that are happening are worse. They're very, very serious crashes. A lot of overturned vehicles, because people for the first time, sometimes ever, they have a chance to drive as fast as they want down, these avenues that are super long in these big cities. And that's terrifying to think of. You're trying to ride a bike down the street with people who are usually speeding, but now because there's fewer cars, they're more likely to go faster. So we're encouraging open streets concepts, because there's cities around the world that are doing it, because they recognize people, when they're too close together, the risk of transmission goes up a lot. So cities like Bogota and Philadelphia, and just recently, New York City wanted to do a lot of open streets, and Transportation Alternatives, the pedestrian and bicycling advocacy in New York City, was advocating for that. And they put some open streets up, but then they manned them with police. And Mayor de Blasio said that it was too expensive and we couldn't do that anymore. So the thing is that Transportation Alternatives, a lot like here in Buffalo, people have block club parties. They're used to doing these things. And you give people a barricade, you have them fill out a permit, you let them, you make sure they know they need to get 75% sign off on it, and you've got an open street. It's that easy. Right now, the city of Buffalo isn't accepting any of those applications yet, but we've gone ahead and found out how to go about doing this so that when they do lift this pause, then we'll be ready to step forward and hopefully have some places for people to go when the weather gets really nice. That's it.
Thank you, Rebecca. And there's a lot to learn from that. You know, you mentioned Delaware Park, and we've seen the photos yesterday of the Ring Road being too crowded for comfort right now, not enough people wearing masks. You know, we're talking a lot about solidarity here on this broadcast. We're going to be talking about it a lot more going forward. Wearing a mask is solidarity. That is a recognition that we are interdependent. And so just like we're out here saying, like, we're not going to have slow roll right now, we're talking about having a solo roll like Tony is on. And like, you gotta, part of that interdependence is understanding, put a mask on so that you don't get me sick, so that you don't get grandma sick, so that you don't get my grandma sick. Wear a mask. If what we're going to keep working on, when Rebecca's talking about open streets, now we put out a bunch of routes, say ride in parks, trails. Well, those are obviously going to get crowded. So the street is the best place for bikes. So if we're going to keep encouraging, putting out routes and ways where people can spread out, and we are going to keep encouraging the folks at City Hall to bring about these open streets kind of programs, and we are able to create our own versions of open streets. We don't have to do them the way other cities do them. We can do them in our own way that are unique to Buffalo, and the way to do that is by collaboration. We can do it ourselves, slow roll and go bike. It would be better if City Hall would work with us, and we look forward to that. And even in this broadcast, we're going to explain a little bit about how we're planning on working with the city this month. So now we see that Tony has arrived at Silo City, and look, the gates closed. Well, best laid plans. So, so our friends at Silo City set up for a little virtual tour, and then there was a family emergency. It's a minor one. They're okay, but weren't able to let Tony in. But Silo City is such an amazing space. And when we have our virtual roll on May 18th there, we will get in. And maybe we'll tell them that publicly this time, okay, you get a mulligan for your family emergency, but next time we're climbing the walls. So Tony's going to keep riding from Silo City, and I'll explain here what we're going to do with some guests if they can join us. For our plans for May 18th. So Silo City has been the host of multiple slow rolls, and some ones that are fun for our history too. Silo City was the host in August of 2015 of our first ever slow roll that eclipsed 1,000 riders. And it was August 3rd, 2015, maybe August 10th. I think we were going to hit 1,000 at Riverworks on August 3rd, but it was lightning right as we were about to roll. So it happened August 10th. So last year, Silo City was our best attended slow roll. We were there in August, and it was tied to the Bowflow Music and Arts Festival, which we have plans to work with again this year. Shout out to Lindsay Taylor. If we cannot have our ride in August, if Bowflow Music and Arts Fest cannot have their festival in August, we will figure it out. Like our friends at Libby's Lemonade, we will make lemonade. So Tony is leaving Silo City now and riding over the Ohio Street lift bridge and headed back into the ward and back into downtown. So here's what we're going to do on May 18th. It looks like our guest who's going to help explain this can't join us, but I can ramble on. So on Monday, May 18th, we are going to have a new kind of roll. Obviously, we will not be joining together by the thousands to ride together. We are going to have a delitter roll, not to be confused with the Iditarod. The delitter roll is a cleanup, and we have pitched this to the city, to folks at City Hall, and it was well received. The Great American Cleanup, which normally happens every May, has been postponed, so there are a lot of supplies in stock for that. But even without that, we have people. We'll take, so there is more trash than maybe, well, there should be, we can say not maybe, then there should be. We're seeing a disturbing amount of masks and gloves being thrown out. That would, I believe, qualify as a COVID-idiot who would do that. But in collaboration across the city, we are going to have a delitter roll. We're going to work with our friend Miss Ada Hobson-Clemens from the Slow Roll Steering Committee and the Buffalo Board of Block Clubs. And we are going to reach out block by block throughout the city and invite people to contribute and participate in the delittering of our city. Slow Roll Squad, instead of meeting at the Outer Harbor, instead of meeting at Silo City, we'll take the Outer Harbor. We will spread out, and on Monday, May 18th, we will clean up the Outer Harbor, and we are going to invite everyone in Buffalo to participate on their own street. Maybe there's a park at the end of the street. The Great American Cleanup gathers people in great groups. We're not going to do that. But stay tuned. We will start promoting that after our May 11th Solidarity Roll with Push. Monday, May 18th, the delitter roll. So Tony is riding from Silo City back downtown. He's up on Ohio Street now, which has become much more bike friendly. And so while we're on our way back downtown, let's bring on some guests who, where Tony is going, they are heavily involved. So let's start with our friend Jen White from Ready Bike Share. Hi, friend. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Seamus.
It's good to see you. We have some plans for our next ride when we get to, oh, I don't want to reveal it, do I? I don't want to say where we're going. It's the suspense of Slow Roll. They don't know where they're going. Where we're going has a Ready Bike Share station. Jen, tell us how Ready Bike Share has responded to this moment.
Sure. Can you hear me? I think there might be a delay. Okay. So it's been quite an interesting time for Ready Bike Share. First of all, I just want to say hey to the Slow Roll. Love you all. Can't wait to join you on a ride. And hope you guys are all staying safe and happy and healthy. And so yeah, Ready Bike Share has been it's been interesting because this is normally the time where we're launching our season and we're gearing up and promoting for everyone to get out and explore Buffalo and Niagara Falls on Ready Bikes. But while we were gearing up to get the season started, news of the pandemic was really hitting home hard, and we had to shift our entire operational plan immediately. And while, you know, a lot of the organizations in this industry across the state and across the country were shutting down and pulling out of markets, we remained steadfast in our commitment to keep bikes available and accessible to the public. So not only are we open and remain open for essential trips, we have also put in place a lot of added precautions to make sure and protect our community. And we think we're doing everything that we can to do that. We've got hand sanitizers available courtesy of Independent Health on every bike. And our fleet team has instituted a laundry list of protocols to make sure that they're cleaning and sanitizing everything as best they can. And we've also, for the first time ever, made annual passes only $1 for the month of April. So we thought it was important to, at this time, make sure and be supportive of.
Beautiful. Well, and shout out again to our presenting partner, Independent Health. which is really, especially since we're
Public
unable
news
to
yet,
have our
but
big
we
gatherings in person right now, where a lot of where we generate so much of our funding from our riders. Independent Health is coming through and keeping Slow Roll running right now, as they have since 2015. So Independent Health, I have my sanitizer from them, and they have provided, they are just a major partner of Ready Bike Share. They're providing sanitizer that you're actually putting on the bikes, right?
Yeah, we're putting the independent health sanitizers right on the bikes, and we've made some available for the community as well. Am I still on?
You are. And thank you, Jen. So, Jen,
so
thank you
sorry.
for joining us. It's so good to
Okay.
see you, friend. Keep in touch.
It's good to see you
And Jen,
too.
you're going to be happy to know who the next guest is. As we say goodbye to you, Jen, peace and love, we're going to welcome Mark Moscato, if we can see him. I don't know if we can see him. Maybe we can hear him. Maybe we can't. Maybe I'll have to explain everything that Mark is doing because Tony has just arrived down at Canal Side and he's close. All right, Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting in a very dark room.
Okay. Well, I can barely hear you, but let's give it a shot. Mark Moscato with Buffalo Bike Tours is here. And Mark, thank you for joining us. You have done a rapid response of your own and a virtual ride of your own. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we are down at Canal Side. Actually, we have a kiosk there, and we're excited to partner with them again this year to move a little bit to a more central location at Commercial and Marine. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be too hot of a year for tourism in Buffalo, unfortunately. But we developed a program called A Bike There Buffalo, which is a series of 5 self-guided routes. You can download the regular GPS app for free if you're looking for a social distance activity to do alone or with your family. It's an awesome thing. We got pre-planned routes, and up a little bit, depression's like a real thing if you're sitting at home all day, every day. And so the idea is to give people something, constructive to do to go out and experience the city on 2 wheels. So, yeah, we're going to be dropping a different route each week. So this week is the East Side Loop. And then the next 4 weeks we'll have other themes. But you'll be able to download the app. It'll give you ride-by-ride navigation, and you could explore various Buffalo histories.
Excellent, Mark. Thank you. I hope everybody can hear Mark better than I could. That's Mark Moscato with Buffalo Bike Tours. We are down, Tony's feed showing us down at Canal Side, the Naval Park, where Buffalo Bike Tours kiosk usually is. And now it's going virtual. So look up Buffalo Bike Tours and take some of these virtual rides with him. Mark has put so much work into the guiding of the rides, right down to points, historical points when you get to certain spots. So check out Buffalo Bike Tours. So Tony is walking around the Naval Park. Naval Park is our host of our May 25th Memorial Day ride, has been for the last 4 years. And of course, we're not going to have thousands of people gathering at the Naval Park this Memorial Day, but we are going to have a Memorial Day roll. We're going to do it in every way we can, but a massive community bike ride. And we're going to ask you all to come along for the ride virtually. And in the week before, we're going to have a lot of promotion and how we can connect our community on Memorial Day through Slow Roll in a way that is supportive of the Naval Park, in a way that honors the ultimate sacrifice that so many have made from our community and all around. And So this is a new day for the Naval Park, and to join us to explain that and to get ready for all that we're going to do for the week of Memorial Day through Slow Roll and our Memorial Day roll is President and CEO of the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park, Paul Marzello. I can hear you, but not see you. How you doing? Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, just like I did for Alex when we dropped him on the call, as we can see the scenes of the Naval Park, I'll tell you all about it. So I have spoken with Paul about this, and I can fill y'all in a little bit. They're working on some plans. First of all, 98% of the revenue that operates the Buffalo Naval and Military Park comes from tourists. So there are no tourists right now. There is no tourism. So this is a tough time for the Naval Park. They have a campaign going to keep the ships afloat. It's actually been in the works right now. And so you'll hear all about that soon. And what we thought we would do is not only support that, but to let y'all know that here is our plan for Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day roll. We're going to keep it virtual, and we are going to connect with members of our community who can speak to the experience of either of serving or families who are affected by fallen service members or by the loss of their own made ultimate sacrifice. And we think that we can do something pretty powerful here through a broadcast on the night of Memorial Day and to share their stories. So if you have a frontline veteran story about a fallen service member that you'd like to honor and you would like to join us on our Memorial Day roll and talk all about it, tell us what it means to you and our community, we can also not only share that story, but we can help support the Naval and Military Park, which shares those stories daily. They are also making plans to go virtual, and that will hopefully come soon. So what we will do is, as we work on that weekly cycle of promoting rides, for the next week leading into next Monday, May 11th, we will be preparing for a solidarity roll with Push Buffalo, and we'll use our website and all of our channels to inform folks about what's going on at Push and how you can join in solidarity. And then leading up to May 18th, we will be promoting our Delitter Roll, where Slow Roll will clean up the Outer Harbor on Monday, May 18th, and we will coordinate citywide to have safe, physically distant cleanups from block to block. Our friend and steering committee member, Miss Ada Hobson-Clemens from the Buffalo Board of Block Clubs is going to work with us on this. And hopefully the city will too. They're excited about the idea. The Great American Cleanup is not going to happen as planned for May. Hopefully we can step in and do something meaningful that will involve you, whoever's watching this too. So whether it's maybe you can volunteer to take care of your street or to a public space near your street, we will coordinate this in a way that maintains safe physical distance. We work with the Board of Block Clubs already on community outreach. There is a database of over 600 contacts for block club leaders throughout the city. And we communicate with them regularly during our regular ride season to let folks know that Slow Roll would like to come to their neighborhood and plans to, and how and when we plan for that to work. So we're going to do that all leading up to May 18th for a Delitter Roll. Now, going ahead for May 25th, we'll turn our sights to the Buffalo Naval and Military Park, and we will honor Memorial Day virtually if we cannot, of course, because we cannot do so en masse in person. While Tony has got his sights on the flag there, y'all can hear I'm parched. Well, I'm going to fill up with some Snowy Owl kombucha Well, it's just like a commercial right in our live broadcast here. Our friends at Snowy Owl Kombucha are in business. Anna and the crew serve before and after every slow roll. And not only are they making kombucha now in their new home at the Niagara Frontier Food Terminal, 1500 Clinton, near Bailey, but also part of the family that makes Lakeward Spirits. And they are making sanitizer now. And they have donated sanitizer for our friends at Push Buffalo. Shout out to Aaron Bartley. Saw you doing a pickup earlier today of sanitizer. They have donated to our friends in the Fruit Belt with the Community Land Trust and the Fruit Belt Leadership. And they have donated to the Go Bike Buffalo Community Workshop. They have donated to the Queen City Couriers. Hand sanitizer made by Lakeward Spirits. So cheers to the Bystrom family, not only making those sanitizer with Lakeward Spirits, but also Snowy Owl Kombucha. So delicious. The new tart cherry vanilla kombucha, the newest flavor from Snowy Owl Kombucha. Tony is going to ride back to Babeville now. Going back to Babeville, which is our host venue. And we had some plans to check in with some folks over at Babeville. We don't have them on the line yet. And I wonder, since we do have some of our after-party entertainment on the line, maybe what we should do here is start the after-party a little earlier. So usually what we do here on Slow Roll is we roll out at 6:30. We have ourselves a 10-mile bike ride throughout the city. We stop twice. That's when people get their refreshments from the likes of Libby's Lemonade, which we heard from earlier, from the Kitty Kickstand crew of the African Heritage Food Co-op, which we heard from earlier. And maybe they bought some Snowy Owl Kombucha before the ride. Oh, well, what do you know? One of our guests is here. So we stop twice and we learn a little bit, in case you need an introduction to Slow Roll, about where we are as we're regrouping the ride. So we've stopped at Push Buffalo, we stopped at Silo City, and we will continue to educate folks about these places as we go forward throughout the month. Our plan again this time, oh man, now we have everybody on the line. So let's, before we get that after party, hold on, after party performers. Sit tight. We're not ready yet. It looks like we got Paul back on the line. Paul, can you hear me? No, Paul can't hear us. Well, I did my best to tell the Naval Park story. It looks like Anna can hear us. Yeah, Anna? Okay, that's a wave that says yes. So we're going to ride back to Babeville as Tony's doing now. Oh, where is he? He is on Erie Street. That's the beginning of Erie Street. He just turned off of Marine Drive. And there you look left. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So he is going to make a left right up here. I believe he's going to make that left onto Franklin. That's right, Pearl Street Brewery right there. That's the ballpark in the distance. So now turning up to Franklin, we'll take him back to Babeville. And joining us from Babeville, where we were at this time going to be bringing 1,000 or so people into Babeville to party. Instead, we're going to party everywhere but inside of Babeville. Anna from Asbury Hall and Babeville is here on with us. Can you hear me, Anna?
I can, Seamus. Can you hear me?
Can you? I know you're soft-spoken, but you're a little softer in here than you should be. So speak up, project. Anna, tell us about, first of all, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
Things have changed so much for places like Babeville. So many concerts canceled that were going to take place over the past couple months, and postponements and virtual adjustments. Things like weddings and private events going on at Babeville. So how are you evolving, and how are you responding to this moment?
Well, we're doing DSP shows has been great, trying to reschedule as much as we can and working with the patrons so that they can get their tickets to the new shows or refunds if they need them. And we've got a creative. So June 15th, for example, we're going to try our first virtual show with Heather May and Chris Matthews. It's a Sing Out Pride celebration. So we'll be announcing that soon. And the National Independent Venue Association is out there trying to get funding to keep independent venues going. So hopefully that'll help us, because it's going to be a long haul, it looks like. And we'll just have to figure out how to deal with that.
You know, a lot of when we talk about the phases of reopening, we are last on that list, aren't we? Large crowd gatherings. So I think you just made a little bit of news here when you said that there's a show going virtual. So there's one that's already confirmed, and so you know, you're in this in the concert business every day. This is the first. Talk about phases. This is phase one of the evolution of the concert industry, is going virtual. Yeah, so we're this is going to be you said a touring act who is going to give a virtual show for each city that they were going to play in.
Yeah, and artists have picked that up right away, doing shows from the living room. It's been really great watching people do that and partnering with different venues. So this will be an extension of that. It's the first one that we're doing.
Beautiful. And how about private events? Now you have so many events beyond concerts. I mean, I know you're not going to be announcing plans for any specific private event, but I'm just thinking about a wedding. What kind of conversations are you having with folks planning something that is so date specific, like a wedding?
We're pushing people off little by little. Nobody wants to delay their wedding if they don't have to, because there's so many people involved, family, making travel plans and invitations, and we totally understand. We're trying to work with people as far in advance so that they can get dates and make their plans in advance without losing deposits and things like that. But it's tough, and it's not going to be an easy conversation for anybody, but you know, doing the best we can with what we know.
That's right. That's a good way to put it. The best we can with what we know. And, you know, when it comes to what we don't know, is we don't know right now what would happen if we tried to have a large group gathering. And so we can trust you, Anna, and the folks at Babeville to not be about to reopen before it's wise to do so. So when we know more, and when we get that notice from the folks in charge, we'll get back into Babeville, and we can go to places like Hall Walls too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Hall Walls has been really proactive in getting streaming artist talks and events online. So definitely check out their pages. But certainly the safety of all of our patrons, our artists, and our crew is definitely top priority, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that when we open our doors again, that it's a good time for everybody.
We trust you and we appreciate you, Anna. Now, this route that we're on tonight, that's about to return to Babeville, is not the route that we originally intended. So what do you say we make a pact here that when we can have rides again, that we will reschedule Slow Roll at Babeville. We'll save that route for another day, and everyone can come in to Babeville afterward and see the beautiful 9th Ward basement venue, the beautiful restored church, Vasbury Hall, and the Hall Walls Contemporary Arts Center.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. We look forward to it.
Thank you, Anna. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And stay tuned, Anna, because we're going to have a party with some live music, and I know you're going to like it. It's going to include people who have played at Babeville many times before. So Tony is rolling up Delaware. Back to good old Babeville. And I think that's Delaware. Y'all who can see it better at home than I can. I see the bike lane. I see somebody getting out of the way. Oh, look at there's Tony. He's giving a thumbs up. So rolling up Delaware, back to Babeville means it's after party time. So that means that maybe I can switch from Snowy Owl Kombucha to one of my favorite Buffalo local brews. Our Slow Roll After Party is presented by Buffalocal. And Buffalocal is a collaboration between local breweries and cideries to promote those brewing in our community. And we're going to give a shout out to our friend Andre at Buffalocal. They have also been supporting the Band Together Buffalo series that Mark, our producer here, big shout out to Mark Odian, WNY Media, Buffalo.fm, for producing this and also producing Band Together Buffalo, featuring local musicians. Right now they're doing rebroadcasts of old shows. And so, Andre, this one's for you, brother. Our Buffalocal After Party kicks in now that we're back at Bayville. Look at that. Oh, it looks like he's there. Well, how about that? There we are back at Bayville. And Andre happens to also be in a band that's called Pharaoh. It's named after the gentleman who's on the screen with me now. So, man, I am excited. Can I just say, just before I kick it to Mike, so slow roll. That's our first virtual roll. Now it's after party time. Welcome back. Y'all know I would be on the bullhorn at this point saying, if you go home now, you're doing it wrong because the party's kicking up. We always stick around for some fellowship and some food and drinks with Chateau Buffalo and Snowy Owl Kombucha and Libby's Lemonade and those Buffalocal brews. And we have music and we get to know a place better and we all talk about the ride we just been on. And so Mike Farrow here, this band started last year with Andre and Mike and a crew of veteran musicians. And they have just hit the scene running and making beautiful sounds. And it is a real pleasure and an honor to have you, Mike, here to kick off our first virtual roll after party. How you feeling? Thank you for being with us. So enough of me, Mike. Take it away. Make some joyful sounds.
Where were you when the air was thick and I could hardly breathe? Where were you when the rains came and I was begging for relief? Where were you when the fires came with Hurricane Mike? Where were you, darling? Where were you that night? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you when the darkness fell and light was far from me? Where were you when the tide rolled in, then I drifted off to sea? Where were you when the road was long and I couldn't find my way? Where were you, darling? Where were you yesterday? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you when the war was on and the queen had lost her king? Where were you when the front line broke and we lost everything? Where were you when I looked in my enemy's eyes and saw a child? Oh my, oh, where were you, darling? You know I ain't seen your ass in a while. Where were you? 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 Hey, there we go. Thank y'all. All right, my next song I'm gonna sing is a song that I started writing in a hard place, and in this time of darkness and this time of difficulty, I think it's time that we take some time for empathy and for love, and speaking for those that can't speak for themselves. Who speaks for you when you cannot find the words? And who tells the truth even though you know it hurts? Who leaves on the light and sleeps on the floor and hopes that you walk through the door? I want to know who speaks for you. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now? There's someone wishing you were coming home. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now that you're gone? Who speaks for him? Who cares about the way he died? And who holds the sin? But why he's living to survive? He gives a damn if he's in your plan. His baby drowned in his own hand. I wanna know who speaks for him. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now? There's someone wishing you were coming home. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now that you're gone? Who speaks for me? Are the ones who I look like? Who's called to be the healing hand of salt and light? Who'll take the time to reach and see the broken men begging in the street? I wanna know who speaks for me. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now? There's someone wishing you were coming home. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now that you're gone? So who'll speak for him? Who will speak for me? Who'll speak for them when we cannot see the light? Whose calls to them when we don't know wrong from right? Who'll take the time to help the fellow man? Who'll keep the walls from caving in? I want to know who speaks for him. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now? There's someone wishing you were coming home. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now that you're gone? There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now? There's someone wishing you were coming home. There's someone somewhere softly singing, what am I supposed to do now that you're gone? So I'll speak for him. Now that he can't, I'll speak for you. Only if you can't, I'll speak for me. Now that I can, I'll speak for them. Yeah. Thank y'all.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Your voice is mesmerizing, man. Can you tell us about that song?
Yeah, it's really just talking about the marginalized, and just about having empathy and speaking for those that don't have a voice. I don't know. The speak. Sorry, threw me off. Too many voices in my head. There was. It's just. It's a song about the struggle of the marginalized, especially in this time where there's a lot going on. It's really hard to. Organize in the way that we used to. So I'm a part of a lot of activist organizations, and it's just a lot of empathy and love that needs to be shared in this time of darkness. And so there's a lot of division and a lot of crazy talk, like really crazy talk. And so it's just reminding us that we're all human and we all deserve a right to live, and we all deserve a right to live. Yeah, period.
Amen, man. And when we talk about solidarity, isn't that the empathy? Like, you can't have solidarity without empathy.
Yeah, if you don't have empathy for the people that are standing right beside you, and I mean, especially I heard recently of a woman who gave birth while incarcerated, and she caught COVID and died after just a few-week-old baby. And there's something for a minor drug charge. So there's something horribly wrong, there's something messed up, where our systems can make it so that a person who does not deserve death receives death because of the way that we're not acting.
And this is what we were talking about. That's right. It was a minor drug offense. And when we talk about empathy and solidarity, and we talk about those who are incarcerated, those are our neighbors too. And now you have been, Push has been involved with advocating for them, and you have been involved through Brothers Doing Better, right?
I've been involved with Brothers Doing Better and Black Love Resists in the Rust.
Yes.
They're also looking for volunteers right now, so if you want to check out their Facebook page or their website, they're looking for people that would be willing to give rides, give food, work with housing for people who were incarcerated, who they're letting out of Erie County Holding Center, so very local. Because even the crimes that people are committing, they're not death sentences, but putting them in a place that's confined with a virus that is deadly is one. So we have to advocate for those who cannot speak. And so that's what the song was about, and that's what I'm about.
Thank you for that song too. You got one more for us?
I got one more for you.
All right.
This one goes out to all the landlords that are not getting paid by their tenants. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. I bring the light, I will accuse you. I bring the drug, I will abuse you. I bring the joy of a traitor. I'll be your guide, I'll be your savior, child. 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 Money's your master, so you're its slave. You ain't even better for a better wage. Are you happy in your gilded cage? Then you wonder why we're filled with so much rage. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. I will wait for the angel. I will wait for the sign. I will wait for the angel. Until then, your ass is mine. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. Ooh, I bring the truth mixed with a lie. I bring the evil right out your eye. I bring your inner child to watch him die. I bring you guys a crucified child. Ooh, child. I will wait for the angel. I will wait for the sign. I will wait for the angel. Until then, your ass is you want that money, yeah. Ooh, you need that money, yeah. Oh, and you love that money, yeah. Oh, you heap that money, yeah. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Mike. Michael Farrow, thanks for joining us, Mike. Keep it going, man. You got any more live streams coming up?
In the next few weeks, I know I have a few more, and there's an album coming in the fall, so yeah.
A Farrow album. Oh yeah, you were saying Farrow is doing some kind of social distance recording?
We're trying to do some social distance recording. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully there'll be some smashing good songs in there, so.
Expecting that and looking forward to hearing you, Mike. Good to see you.
All right, thanks.
And be well, man. Keep in touch. Peace.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, that's just the first of 4 musical guests we have here on our virtual roll after party. It's a Buffalo local after party, and I'm enjoying a Flying Bison Kolsch. I got some community beer works in the hopper. It's a good old slow roll after party with local only. You know, we have only ever served local beverages at Slow Roll, and we're going to keep it that way. I hope that you at home are drinking something local that serves you well. Now, we have 4 performers again for our virtual roll after party, and our next one, Katie Clark, nice to see you. Absolutely. Katie, you're going to do 3 songs for us, right? And we're going to talk a little about all that you have going on, but kick us off with a couple first.
All right, sounds good. This one's dedicated to the slow roll. You keep me waiting till it's getting aggravating. You're a slowpoke. I wait and worry, but you never seem to hurry. You're a slowpoke. Time means nothing to you. I wait and then late again. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, quarter to 10. then. Why should I linger every time you snap your finger? You're a slowpoke. Why can't you hasten when you see the time's a wasting? You're a slowpoke, dear. Why should I keep trying to change you? It's not the thing to do. I guess I'll have to learn to be a slowpoke too. You keep me waiting till it's getting aggravating. You're a slowpoke. I wait and worry, but you never seem to hurry. You're a slowpoke. Time means nothing to you. I wait and then late again. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9:45. Why should I linger every time you snap your finger, little slowpoke? Why can't you hasten when you see the time's a wasting? You're a slowpoke, dear. Why should I keep trying to change you? It's not the thing to do. I guess I better learn to be a slowpoke too. I guess I'll have to learn to be a slowpoke too. All right. I'd rather stay home and cry over you than to run around all over town with somebody new. I'd rather stay home, forgotten and blue, than to look for fun with anyone but you. There's nothing to be glad about since you went away. So what's the use to get about pretending I'm gay? My tears are too real for smiles to conceal. I don't want to roam, I'd rather stay home. I'd rather stay home and cry over you than to run around all over town with somebody new. I'd rather stay home, forgotten and blue, than to look for fun with anyone but you. There's nothing to be glad about since you went away. So what's the use to get about pretending I'm gay? My tears are too real for smiles to conceal. I don't want to roam, I'd rather stay home. I don't want to roam, I'd rather stay home. Hey.
Hey, hold on, Katie. Hold the thought. Hugh, get in here. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Katie, stand by. We have a special guest. We have one more song from you. Don't you go nowhere. You stay home.
Won't.
You stay right there.
I have nowhere to go.
Let's get Hugh in here. What up,
Hey,
Hugh?
hey, all right. We're still connecting on Monday night with a new face.
Hugh Perkins. Mark, I don't know if everyone can hear me, but I bet Hugh can. Hugh,
Yes.
you're on break driving a bus right now?
Yeah, I'm on lunch. I got 17 minutes.
So, Hugh, just in case everybody can't hear me. Oh, there we are. Thank you. All right. It's our squad member, Hugh Perkins. Y'all are looking at the loudest bullhorns in Buffalo right here. Us two on Monday nights.
Slow roll.
It's so good to see you, Hugh. On a serious note, tell us why you are joining us just on your break. Tell us about your essential work.
Yeah, I'm an essential worker out here, driving people around so they can get their medicine, go to the doctors, go shopping, taking people to work, and dealing with a lot of homeless people. But yeah.
And Hugh, you are, as your hat says, an NFTA bus operator working overtime right now, huh?
Yes, making money. Can't ride my bike, so I said I might as well make some money.
And in case anyone is wondering, you are not driving the bus right now. You got your mask off because you're alone on your break.
Yeah, I'm alone on the bus. Yeah, everybody's off. I'm on break.
Well, Hugh, we are in the middle of the after party. We're rocking with live music right now, man. You're late.
Oh, live music? Okay.
Yeah,
I just checked in. See, I'm on the bus.
So to tell everybody who's watching and who hopes to join us in the future, Hugh is not usually working Monday nights. He's on that bullhorn with Slow Roll, and Hugh will be co-hosting on future virtual
Next
roles.
Monday, I will be able to co-host.
You are as close to the camera as you could possibly be.
Oh,
Hugh.
I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
like
not
that
used to this.
bullhorn, you are all up on it.
It's what they say: an old player and new technology.
Well, we love you, Hugh. Thanks for checking in.
All right.
Thank you.
Love
for
you
your
guys.
son's
Be
work.
safe. Okay. I got a couple of wraps to eat before I get out of here. I got 15 minutes.
Enjoy your break.
So,
be safe.
all right.
Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
I've been listening to the show, but yeah, great. All right.
Awesome. All right. Peace, Hugh.
Peace.
We couldn't not bring Hugh on there, guys. Thanks for your patience.
Of course.
So Hugh makes a lot of noise in Slow Roll, but you know what just occurred to me, Katie? Hi, Jason, by the way.
Hey, Seamus, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, I guess, all things considered. This is nice. I hope anybody's watching. They'll be watching in the future. This will live on. Katie, remember the time that Slow Roll went past your house? I haven't even thought about that till you were playing. So that was like an iconic moment that year, and people were talking about it so much, like afterward, and going on there like, why isn't that a regular thing? Or did y'all plan that? I was like, well, kind of. Like I told them we were coming, but we didn't tell them to play music. And we were just like, let's get some more fun so we could like just do that on purpose all the time. But let's bring us back. Like, what was going on where you just kind of spontaneously played for Slow Roll?
Oh, well, you texted us and just said, hey, Slow Roll's passing by your house. And at the time, Jason and I were living on Ryan Street in South Buffalo. And our downstairs neighbor was Matt Crane, and he was in Erie Lackawanna Railroad with us. So we called Matt and we're like, let's just play at the end of our driveway. Pretty spontaneous. And I think a video of it made it into the opening video at the Sabres games that year. So it was cool all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is a good one. Mm-hmm.
Franco started, and Susan was a longtime marketing, and Ani owns Bayville. Susan was a longtime marketing director and just one of the most beautiful souls who will ever enter your orbit. And she stays with us. And we lost her a few years ago. And after that, there was a wonderful celebration of life for Susan at Bayville. And her wonderful husband, Marty, put together a lineup of performers. They had a wedding with an amazing lineup that could have been a festival. And they put together a similar lineup And we celebrated Susan with a packed house, and I was honored to MC that celebration, and your band Rearview Ramblers performed. So I went back to that lineup and said, well, we can get a couple people. That it was Susan's birthday this past Friday, and so we have so much love and that we're sending up to Susan and over to Marty, so I would love for you to share some of your reflections on Susan and our time together.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say this, that my laptop just said we're low on battery. So Jay ran up to get the charger, but I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm sure it'll come back. So yeah, I met Susan probably about 10 years ago. And it was when we were playing in a band called Erie Lackawanna Railroad. And Susan was just such a big supporter of mine, a big supporter of Erie Lackawanna Railroad, a big supporter of local and regional bands all over the place. And I just have so many fond memories of seeing her at shows, of her bringing us into Babeville and playing there. But mostly the shows that she had at her house with her and Marty. There's just some really incredible memories that I have playing there, playing for the people that were there, who are all entirely lovely. Yeah, and we were really sad to see her go, but I think that a lot of the spirit that she had here remains in the Buffalo music scene, you know?
And just thinking about on her birthday the other day, thinking about her and thinking about that celebration, and the fact that we were having a celebration with Babeville of our own, and a couple days later, just brought back a lot of good feelings. And we carry Susan with us, and you're going to carry us on to our next performer with one more. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do a song that we did at Susan's memorial.
Oh, beautiful. Do we want to wait for Jason to come back? Is he?
He is here. He's getting his banjo picks on.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good timing, right? So thanks so much, Seamus and Slow Roll and Band Together Buffalo and Babeville and everybody. This is fun.
Thanks for joining us, Katie. You know what? Before you start, I did want to ask. You know, you're not just a song and dance lady. You're a mom of a toddler and a music teacher, and I know that relates to a lot of folks. How you doing?
Yeah, there's good days and bad, as I'm sure everybody can relate to. It's tough with my husband, Jay, still going to work every day. He's, essential, keeping all of the other essential businesses running. And it's tough being home alone with Natalie, our 16-month-old daughter, and still also trying to teach online. I'm lucky to be a music teacher, elementary school music. So I feel like my job right now is to kind of keep the joy in all of the homes in our school, because that's something that music can do. So I'm trying to make videos. I'm trying to find cool activities and things like that to just pass on to the kids. It's almost impossible most of the time with Natalie here and trying to keep her occupied. But I have a really understanding district, and I hope the kids are getting something out of it. But I know that there's a lot of teachers in my situation too, that we're trying our very, very best, but there's a lot at home that everybody's dealing with,
Yeah, well, I trust that you're doing your best and you're doing it well. You bring the joy.
Trying.
It's a joy just to see y'all. So play one more for us, please.
All right, sounds great. I'm gonna take this out. 1, 2, 3.
There is a time for laughter. The days will pass like summer storms. The winter wind will follow after. But there is love, love is warm. There is a time for us to wander.
time is young, and so are we. The woods are greener over yonder. The path is new, the world is free. There is a time when leaves are falling. The woods are gray, the path is old. The snow will come when geese are calling. You need a fire against the cold. There is a time for us to wander. When time is young, and so are we. The woods are green over yonder. The path is new, the world is free. So do your own in the springtime. You'll find your love in the summer sun. The frost will come and bring the harvest, and you can sleep when day is done. There is a time for us to wander. When time is young, and so are we. The woods are green over yonder. The path is new, the world is free. The path is new, the world is free. The path is new, and the world is free.
Hey, love to Marty for that one.
All right. Marty, Susan, love to you. Katie and Jason Clark. It's so great to see y'all.
It's so nice to see you too, Seamus. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for bringing the sunshine as you do. Please send my love to Natalie and your whole wonderful family.
For sure.
Keep in touch.
All right, thanks.
Peace. Wow. So we are 2 down, 2 to go with our after party, our Buffalocal after party. Buffalocal. Support your local breweries. If you're just joining us, welcome to Slow Roll's first virtual roll. Slow Roll Buffalo, presented by Independent Health. Shout out for keeping us rolling. Independent Health, we have so much planned for them, with them for the coming year. For now, we've moved our bike ride online, and we're continuing to connect communities as we do, just without the big old bike ride. So we have an after party every time after the ride, a Buffalocal after party, and joining us tonight to make it happen. Big thanks to Mark Odie and Buffalo.fm and Band Together Buffalo. Started, I can just point to it. There's Band Together Buffalo, presented by Buffalocal and Ripe Audio. Oh, there, my buddy Dave Guilford. Dave and Mark started this Band Together Buffalo and are supporting musicians through that link above. You can support our local musicians who have lost so many gigs, and we have lost so much of the joy that they bring when we gather in person. We're bringing it online. So after every slow roll, we have a party. We have food, drinks, music, and fellowship. Shout out to the food trucks who reached out when we announced that we're having that slow roll is still happening. No food trucks yet. As soon as we can get together, anyone in person, best believe we will include the food trucks. For now, again, we're 2 down, 2 to go with performers at the after party. We have so many more performers already lined up for future virtual rolls on future Monday nights, because this is the way we're rolling for now. So moving from Katie and Jason Clark over to another performer from back in Babeville 3 years ago, our celebration of life for our beloved Susan Tanner was Sonny Baker. Hey, Sonny.
Hey, now. What's
Sonny,
going
it's
on?
great to see you. We can tell a lot of Babeville stories. And you know what? Let's tell some of them. First, play some music for us, eh?
All right, sounds good.
snagged, ankles tied, brain's been smashed up against nothing but fever dreams that you can't get enough. Spit it out, why can't you just spit it out? Why can't you spit it out? Why can't you spit it out? Oh, it's a hard time to make things right when so much is fucked up. Why can't I just spit it out? Why can't I just spit it out? Why can't I spit it out? Why can't I spit it out? I'm not looking for much. Sometimes I just said enough. I just wanna be quiet, lay my head down, not give any fuss. I just wanna spit it out. Why can't I just spit it out? Why can't I spit it out? Why can't I spit it out?
Cheers. Incredibly loud, shaking my bones. You're in control, I'll never will. This logic is old, there's blood everywhere. If there ain't, there should be anywhere. Tradition stays the same, each and every way. You make me want it to be. You made it this way. You made it this way. Sold on everything you wear. Turn back time. I would have never lost that hair. Eating everything you are. Rips my skin. Fattens up my bones. Tradition stays the same. Each and every way. You make it want it to be. You made it this way. You made it this way. Oh.
Can't hear you. While we figure that. Yeah. All right.
Broken, unspoken, manufactured in my texture, product on captivity. So to the lowest level, it's a symbol for my parts who would all have. We would have left our hearts. Saturday, I'll come running by the dates and off your love. I can be anyone you want me to be. All new pleasures, you forget I live. All your blessings until I got nothing, I got nothing to give. All new pleasures, you forget I live. All your blessings until I got nothing, I got nothing to give. Broken, I must have been spoken for something obvious that nothing you must think you got something for me. All your pleasures, you forget how I live. All your blessings until I got nothing, I got nothing to give. All your pleasures, you forget how I live. All your blessings until I got nothing, I got nothing, I got nothing, I care, I care. I care, I care.
Sonny, I see you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Man, it's so good to see and hear you. You have Well, you got a bunch of cool things we can talk about now that are interesting for our night, since we are virtually at Babeville, right? We are bringing it back to Babeville.
That's right.
So, oh boy, where to begin? Let's go all the way back. We did this with Katie, who played before you, reflecting on when we were at Babeville for the celebration of life for Susan Tanner. It was, again, if anybody's just joining us, she's the longtime marketing director of Righteous Babe Records, which is Ani DeFranco's record label, Buffalo's own, and she now owns Babeville as well. And Susan was just such a pillar of our music community. And when she passed, her just tireless husband, Marty, put together that celebration of life. And you played that, and you knew Susan more than just like seeing at shows and being booked. You actually, you worked for Righteous Babe, huh?
I interned there for a bit. I'm trying to think of how long it was, but made that connection through Marty booking me for a Trimania show, and then somehow I found out that Susan worked there, and I had loved Ani since I was like 10, so I nerded out until Marty was like, "Okay, you can call Susan," and maybe we could figure something out. And it only took a couple days, and right away I could tell that Susan was just so into everything, almost everything that I was into, music wise, and we just connected immediately. Yeah, there's no one else like it.
And y'all are like encyclopedias, all of you, and doing
Yeah, that's
Susan
really
and Marty.
really fun. Yeah, really fun conversations.
So, pardon me if my audio is bad. It sounds bad on my end. Sonny,
There's a couple of you.
We're a little ahead here. Could we squeeze another out of you?
Sure.
Before we do, let's share one more Babeville memory.
Oh, about the time that I ordained you and you married me and my wife? That one?
Oh, yeah, sure, that one.
Thank you again for doing that.
Thank you for asking. That was a time of our lives. So while we were talking with Anna earlier about how hard it must be to have your wedding on hold,
yeah,
amidst all this, when I think about that, I'm reflecting on what an amazing time that was to get married, y'all, in the chapel, after party at the 9th Ward down below. It was a night for the ages.
Yeah, I got to play on stage that night too, at my own wedding. That was so fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Which Talking Heads song did you play?
Naive Melody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to not only the Laszlo set, but Alex Berkeley. What did he do? El Scorcho?
Yeah.
Oh, Weezer. Well, let's get away from Seamus and Sonny at Flying Bison hatching memories. And yeah,
3 hours later. Well, thank you for having me. And all right, yeah, I'll do one more.
Turn over, hold on to the light. You've never been conscious that there's ever been a light. Maybe it's been there. It's never been too bright. Never been too bright. Never been too bright. Never been too bright. Shocked when it's over. Could it not be right? The surface is laid up and the time is years gone. Shocked when it's over. surface is later, the time is his dawn. Turn over, it's almost over. It's never over until the lights are gone. Over, let me help you up. It takes even courage is gone. Locked when it's over, could it all be gone? The surface is later, the time is his dawn. Shocked when it's over, could it all be gone? The surface is later, the time is his dawn.
Thank you, Sonny. Are you still with us?
Yes.
Sorry. Sonny, it's great to hear you. It's great to see you. Sonny Baker.
Thanks.
You know what I like to ask when we're doing this on a stage in front of people, where are you playing next?
Here.
So we know where, but when and how is another story. Before you leave, tell us about your day job at the Birchfield Penny and how y'all are evolving. You got a big event Friday.
Yeah, we are doing our annual Second Fridays virtually. We did our first one last month. It turned out really well. We had Zach Ward and Leroy Towns, and we had a couple artists also doing some demonstrations. This Friday, we have Sarah Elizabeth, Jason Staniszewski from Scarlet Begonias and Talking Deadheads and all those bands, and then demonstrations by AJ Freeze and Julia Bottoms, and it'll all be through the Birchfield Penny Facebook. Starts at 5. Just tune in. We'll have the schedule up there for you to check in, and it's pretty fun. I mean, a nice little variety show like this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was fun. I tuned in the last time, and yeah, it was Zach and Leroy, and then also AJ Freeze was doing some cool stuff. There's that event, that Second Friday at Birchfield Penny is one of my favorite events in Buffalo. It's just such a vibrant scene, and so thank you for figuring out a way to make it virtual. So every second Friday, instead of let's all hang out at Birchfield Penny in the center, let's hang out online. That's going to be on your feeds. So follow the Facebook event page, and that'll take you to each of the individual performances.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. We're gonna the last month it was Facebook and Instagram. We're gonna streamline it so everything will be on Facebook. It'll all be in one place.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Looking forward to that. Thanks for playing some music for us, Sonny. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Say hey to Sam, and we'll rehash all those wedding stories another time when we're not live online.
Sounds good. Cheers, man.
Peace, Sonny. Cheers. So cheers, Sonny, with some Flying Bison. You can also find him in whatever new normal we go back to. Hopefully, Sonny will go back to also being a bartender at Flying Bison Brewery. But hey, speaking of breweries, greetings from the Buffalo local after party here at Slow Roll Buffalo. I'll change from Flying Bison over to Community Beer Works. Community Beer Works, that IPA, thanks to Vandra over at Hydraulic Hearth for sharing some here. Got my brother's Consumer Beverages growler. Hey, Consumer Beverages, if you're watching, that conversation we had before all this all hit about sponsoring Slow Roll now, well, you're in it now. We should talk again, but that's not what we're here for. Let's bring in David Michael Miller. Hey, Dave. I think it's going pretty well. We're getting through a little flubs of trying a virtual slow roll for the first time, but I know I'm having fun. I don't know. I don't know about anyone else, but everyone I'm looking at is smiling, and it's really good to see your face and hear you, man. Thank you for your song Rise that we used as the intro to this broadcast tonight. We set it to some scenes from Slow Roll. We used it in one of our social distance ride videos on our YouTube channel, which reminds me, remember, Dave, pardon me, I'm a YouTuber now. So I got to say, subscribe out to our YouTube channel, smash that like button. I think that's what they say. That's what the YouTubers say. I think my nieces and nephews are watching and they're probably laughing saying, you are not a YouTuber, man. But we've got YouTube videos now, and we are rolling virtually for a while. Your song Rise is perfect for this moment that I know you wrote it before all this, but we'll play it again afterward. We'll go out after you're done performing. We will show that video again. The song is beautiful, and thanks, Mark, for setting it to the scenes of Slow Roll so beautifully. But you're going to play a few live for us now. Why don't you start us off with a couple, and we'll talk a little more later.
Sounds good. Rise is actually the title of a new EP that we just put the pre-order out. We're going to be doing digital in a month, and then probably a couple months before the hard copies come out. But this is another tune from that same new EP, and it's a song that I wrote long time ago when I watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, fell in love with all the music and did a deep dive into all that country blues and gospel, kind of country gospel stuff, and then I wrote a song that doesn't do any of it any service. But anyway, this is a tune that's on the new EP. It's called Wash Waters.
Take me down to the water, Lord, Lord. Take me down, oh, to the water, Lord. And can I walk in freely, but it's raining so hard. Take me down to the water where you're washing souls. Yeah. All right now. Bring me down in the water, Lord, Lord. Bring me down, oh, in the water, Lord. Never seen me buried at the bottom of the hole. Lay me down in the water where you're washing souls. Step to the water, wash me whole. Can't get about the water with the clean soap. Step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water with the clean soap? Step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water with the clean soap? Step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water? Care about the water, but step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water with the clean soap? Step to the water, wash me whole. Yeah. All right now. Whoa, raise me up from the water, Lord. Raise me up from the water, Lord. Let the new man rise and leave the old one go. Raise me up from the water where you're washing souls. Step to the water, wash me whole. Can't get about the water with clean soap. Step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water with clean soap? Step to the water, wash me whole. Can I get about the water with clean soap? Step to the water,
wash me whole. Can I get about the water? Get about the water and step to the water. Wash me whole. Can I get about the water? When you clean me, step to the water. Wash me whole. Yeah. Gotta break it down, break it down. Gotta take it down, take me down. Gotta break it down, break it down. Gotta take me down, take me down. Gotta take me down, break it down. Gotta take me down, take me down. Gotta take it down, take it down. Well, now, step to the water. Wash me whole, and I get about the water. Clean, clean, so step to the water. Wash me whole, and I get about the water. Get about the water, and step to the water. Wash me whole, and I get about the water. Clean, clean, so step to the water. Wash me whole. Yeah. All right now. There's one.
Keep it going.
All right. Well, I'm going to play something. I'm going to play something that I wrote during this this timeout, and I guess it was kind of inspired by some of the Facebook banter, and actually I got a couple songs that are about that, but this one was just kind of realizing that kind of there's certain aspects of our history and of our ideology that are still alive that are pretty painful. And actually Anita West shared a story with me about a friend of hers. And after thinking about the stuff that I was seeing on Facebook and that story, the song just kind of popped out in like, I don't know, 15 minutes, which is kind of rare when it does that fast. Sorry, she's old. She's a 1938 Kalamazoo, and sometimes she's a little temperamental, like me. All right. It's a song called Ghosts Are Alive and Well. They're floating down the streets again in linen robes and hoods, marked with the cross of one who bled for that neighborhood. Chains on windows, chains on doors, they chant and curse and yell. One thing's for sure, ghosts are alive and well. They're marching down the streets again with fire in their hands, fueled by hate that's blacker than the skin of any man. Burning crosses on the lawns till homes become like hell. Pray for dawn, ghosts are alive and well. Well, they're rushing down the streets again. Go quick, hide in the tub. While the children run in fields or swim at country clubs. Teach your child just what to feel and the price If they rebel, they'll drink their tears, go to alive and well. Oh, yeah. Well, they're shouting down the streets again. They terrorize online TV and haunt us from our phones. I don't know how to find a rate. I just can't find a spell. Those who faith goes around and well. Will these aberrations flee back to the graves they dwell? Don't be deceived, ghosts are alive and well. That's a new one.
I think you wrote those lyrics all the way out on a Facebook post right after it came out, didn't you?
Right after
the
it came
toss-in.
out, and and I actually did. I've been doing like, I haven't been doing a ton of live shows because I've kind of been going to school, learning my at home studio, not streaming. I don't understand any of that yet. I'll get there, but I've been just trying to learn my studio so that I can do some recording in here and not be bound by other rooms or things like this, right? I can still get music out. And so I actually have this kind of in there, and probably in the next month or so, I'll pop that out for folks so they can hear it with everything.
Cool. Well, let's go back a bit to the inspiration of the song, though. You and I, for better and worse, engage in political dialogue on Facebook.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. And I appreciate the way you do it. I also appreciate just, it's something that comes to us at Slow Roll sometimes, where someone will say, y'all are too political, or stop being political. And we just feel that politics is a privilege that we refuse. Like, it's just not, life is political, community gatherings are political just by nature of gathering the body politic. And you found a way to bring that into your music. And so a song like that, you got to tell the backstory for someone to know the politics of it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly watching some of the dialogue, and just there's a lot of, this part of it isn't about a political party as much as it's about the nature of humanity and what your ideology is towards another human being, where you stand that way. And there's a lot, I've seen firsthand on the road. I've had the privilege of touring with a lot of amazing musicians, and some of them happen to be also African-American, and they're beautiful people, and watching them treated differently than me on the road has been a talking point, in our home. Like, it was like, are you kidding? Like, how is this possible? How can four of us walk into a restaurant together and they assume the two white guys are together to seat us, and not all four of us that are standing there talking, together, right? They just kind of assume a segregated kind of perspective. And biases aside, there's a lot of just pure hatred that's being unveiled or flaunted, actually, just pretty openly. And in a way, I appreciate that, because now I know who you are. There's not a subtle sneakiness to how you feel, and that's fine. You can say it out loud, and that's good. I know where you stand. But seeing all that stuff, coupled with when Anita told me the story of her friend, because one of the lines in here is, they're rushing down the streets again, go quick, hide in the tub. And that comes directly from the story of her friend when she was a little girl in the South, and they came marching down the street, and her parents told them to go hide in the tub. And just to think that children have to be afraid like that. And I think we're still kind of in this place where we prefer intimidation. And there's no question that's a vice that all of us can fall into at times when we get frustrated or whatever, and we're not winning something that we feel like we should win, and we want to try to go to some other tool, and intimidation is one of those. We're still kind of in that world, but just to know that these things still exist, these ideologies are still alive, that we can hate someone based on our difference or perceived difference, and it's a pretty superficial one, and make it all about that, and not see the person, not see the human being there. And so that kind of fueled the song. And just, ultimately the song is don't fool yourself. These organizations that we see horrible pictures of on the internet where, they would round up folk and hang them at will. Those same ideologies are alive and well. So we need to recognize that, not glorify it, recognize it, and do what we can do to change those mindsets, even if it's one person at a time. So.
Right on, man. And we know that exists in our own community. You've seen it. It's maybe a little more outward when you tour in the South, knowing that you're talking about touring as an interracial band down in the South, where in generations past, y'all couldn't have stayed in the same hotel room, right? Or gone to the same restaurant. But I do want to touch on as well, we could talk all night about this, but your life personally as a touring musician is that part of your life has been suspended. How does a full-time touring musician respond to this crisis?
Well, I know I'm fortunate in that, my background was IT, and I've, both led software development teams and been parts of them. And I've been fortunate to be able to do side work at home here and there to supplement. Sometimes I'll work on a project so I have money to invest in music. I want to do a tour that I know is not going to make money. It's going to lose money. And in order to do that, I'll work, some side things to make that happen. And I'm fortunate that Can you guys hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Oh,
keep
okay. Everything froze for me for a second. So I'm still able to do that kind of work from home, and actually take on more, which has been good because it's helped fill the gap. And when folks have donated towards my music, I've been able to actually funnel that through to some of my guys, which is just a blessing. So thank you to people that have given money towards Miller and the Other Sinners, because we've been able to help out some of the guys that are a little bit more full-time musicians. They really rely on that income, and I can't give that to them right now. So thank you. So, I'm responding in that way. I'm, like I said before, I'm kind of in the studio, in the lab, working on tunes, been writing and recording. I've been going back to old songs that I've wanted to record for years, but haven't been maybe the right song for an album or the band or the mojo of the band or whatever. So I've got a song called Come Alive, which it's got some political kind of connotations to it. I had a gal from Alyssa, and I'm trying to, her last name just totally escaped me, but I'll get it in a second. Alyssa Grace Trahan. She's from Western New York. She's a musician. She's relocated to Nashville. She did a really fun lyric video for it. And I should have the song probably tonight. I'll probably post in the next few days. But my goal has been to just be productive, and keep, do some writing, work in the studio, record some songs, get better at my craft on that end of things. And my next thing will be probably sitting down with Mark and saying, Mark, how do you stream? Well,
Yeah.
because that's going to be the next thing I got to figure out how to do.
Sounds like
This
the
is from
conversation
my
I've been having the last
right.
week.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Well, but, you know, we've been talking about how what we're doing right now is a measure of slow roll having to be creative and nimble in order to meet our mission. You have gone on a mission of being a full-time touring musician, and I think it's worth sharing here. I'm going to, of course, keep you here for another song, but I think it's worth sharing to anyone who's interested some of the ways that you have gotten creative here in recent years with the changes already happening in the music industry, not even talking about the last 6-8 weeks, about how to make it, you know, how to make a living as a touring musician. So for starters, I suppose you could talk about the hat you're wearing. And I hear that y'all are doing some things even in the last couple months with 3-Chord Bourbon.
Yeah, actually, that's been kind of a godsend and a game changer for me on a lot of levels. Over a year ago, I ran into these gentlemen at 3-Chord Bourbon, and I hadn't met Neil Giraldo yet, who's one of the founders, but I met Tony and Paul and Mike over here, and they're awesome people. And we did a show for them, and they wanted to sit down and talk about how they could help me, because they have a heart for musicians. And it's not just about a heart for Miller and the Other Sinners. I mean, it ends up that we're their kind of national brand ambassador, and we're kind of taking a principal role there, but they want to help other musicians. And so if you're other musicians that are out there, and obviously it's going to be a while before all this stuff kicks back up, but you know, reach out to me and I'll connect you with the right people. And there are ways that 3-Chord, once shows are back up and running, even small shows in small venues or bars, solo or duo even, that 3-Chord can come behind and kind of help you put on the show, make a little extra money, help promote their brand. They'll help promote yours. So these guys have been great. And then, you know, being introduced to Neil Giraldo, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's a Grammy-winning producer, guitarist, songwriter. He's kind of known as being Pat Benatar's, you know, right hand. The two of them working on all those records together. He's been producing her since I think 1979, and also they are married, which I probably should have said first. But you know, I can just tell you that Neil is an incredibly humble person, very compassionate towards guys like me that are out here, you know, just grunting it. And he remembers what it's like, you know, to be just working your butt off and not necessarily being recognized, you know, in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming with them. You know, once again, everything's kind of on pause, but, you know, they've been helping me tour before. You know, we're going to do more of that in the future. And Neil's actually going to be helping produce, you know, the next Miller and the Other Sinners record after this EP that we're releasing. So I'm super excited about working with him and getting his experience and gifts on a record. So yeah.
Oh, that's great, Dave. You know what's fun about these live stream shows is that there's no one in well, if anyone in the audience right now is saying shut up and saying we can't hear him. So I am getting a text from Jeff Myers saying, I love what you're doing, brother. So we know that people are listening and enjoying this. So how about another song?
Cool. Well, let me do a song. This is kind of a new song too. And this kind of also goes back to our conversation of, I guess, how we talk to each other online. I'm guilty sometimes of not keeping my cool as much as I should through a conversation. We all have a when's when, you know?
Yep.
And So we just tracked this. This is another one that'll be coming out, even though it's not on the record. We're going to be putting this out, I think, as a single, just because it's timely. And I recorded this with Levi Bennett and Derek Bennett, who work with the Campbell Brothers. Levi is kind of one of two drummers for the Campbell Brothers. He's also an incredible producer and stuff, and worked with him on it. And we're going to get a couple other people involved as we're finishing up some of the mixes. We're working on that a little bit more in the next week or two. But a song called Better Times, Better Days. Better times, better days. I'm pushing through the other while we're headed for better times, better days, yeah. Better times, better days. I'm pushing through the other while we're headed for better times, better days, yeah. Throwing stones from our phones, bruised bone of our bone, pretend like they're the unknown. It's all screens and digits, walls for bridges, calls for visits, false religion. The gadgets have us and pick our side and ride or die like a battle cry. But it's only a shallow ringside pride. So thirsty for a tribe and a link to subscribe that we shamelessly bribe and compromise our higher vibe. Better times, better days. I'm pushing through the other while we're headed for better times, better days, yeah. Better times, better days. Pushing through the other while we headed for better times, better days, yeah. Label all those who differ our foes, judge like pros, as though we know. 'Cause I got my rights and mine must be right. Don't agree, well, it's fight or flight. Indulging every thought, dreams that we trapped and caught, lies that we sold and bought. Spin our truth, though it's unwinding. Pride is all the blind, till our version's the only one we're finding. Better times, better days, and pushing through the other while we headed for better times, better days, yeah. Better times, better days. Pushing through the other while we heading for better times, better days. Oh, talking about better times, better days. Better times, better days. Oh, pushing through the other while we're heading for better times, better days, yeah. Better times, better days. Pushing through the other while we headed for better times, better days, yeah. Yeah, that came out. I probably wrote it back in maybe, gosh, when was it? Maybe late fall, and just was starting to work it out, play it out with the band a little bit here and there, and then of course all this hit and we kind of got shut down. But I figured it's worth recording and getting out there. So we're hopefully probably release that within a month. We're getting
Nice. Making me a little self-conscious about trying to get subscribers on our YouTube channel during this broadcast with that line you had there. What What's the what's the line about the phones? That was a great line.
Well, it says, oh, you mean like the first throwing stones from our phones?
Man, ain't that the truth? Okay, so let's pretend we are ignoring the people saying shut up and sing, but now I will invoke all the people listening at home by saying encore, encore. Can we keep you for one more?
Sure. What are you
All right.
feeling like?
What am I
Are
feeling
you feeling like anything specific? Yeah, man.
Man. I'll do like that person in the front row at the Austin City Limits Festival with a big sign saying, play whatever you want.
All right. Well, I'll do this then too. This is another one that's from the new record, and it's a little slower, but it's maybe somebody needs to hear this. And there's a lyric video out that Mike Nanula from 3 Chord actually made for me. And you can find that posted. It's on our website. You can, on our website, on our YouTube channel. But if you go to my Facebook page for Miller and the Other Sinners, you'll see it. And, or, message us or something. We'll make sure you get the link somehow. But it's kind of a cool tune. The band's been doing this now for probably a year and a half or more. The great thing about on the record is that we have a choir singing this, which this is not going to sound the same right now. Just saying. So if you want to hear this awesome choir, I also got to tell you that the same Mike Nanula who did that video for me, he took this song and he did a video with him cooking one of the most delicious bone-in ribeyes you're ever going to see in your life. And I think it's hilarious that he used this song. But at the epic moment where the song is at its like climax and the choir's really singing is when the dish is presented in all its juicy glory. So it's pretty awesome. But seriously, if you're kind of struggling with depression right now, it's very understandable. It's not you're not weird. You're not an anomaly. You're not broken. Everybody gets down. It's okay to be down. The idea is you just don't want to stay there very long. So you got to recognize that, kind of be your gatekeeper if you can. But this is a song that gives you permission to be a little sad. It's okay to grieve a little bit. Sometimes your flowers bloom together. Sometimes the trees, they shade the softer ground. Sometimes you can't help but smile because it's just the perfect weather. Sometimes you're down. Sometimes your friends are only smiling. Sometimes a stranger, just like a lost friend found. Sometimes you just can't deny the love that your being's all wrapped up in. But on the flip side around, yeah, sometimes you're down. Oh, sometimes you're down. Wondering if the sun is ever gonna shine again. Oh, sometimes you're down. And you look around, but you can't find one friend. Oh, sometimes you're down. But let me tell you, this ain't the end. No, it ain't the end. On the flip side now, sometimes you're down. Sometimes the clouds send you a love song. Sometimes the water falls and it falls in a healing sound. Sometimes you're thinking clear, and you know that you know that you know that you know that you belong. But on the flip side round, yeah, sometimes you're down. Oh, sometimes you're down. Just wondering what you're gonna do. Oh, sometimes you're down. Yeah, with all that you're going through. Oh, sometimes you're down. But don't you know you can rise up to, rise up to. On the flip side round, sometimes you're down. Yeah, but on the flip side round, sometimes you're down. Someday your day is just a little brighter. Sometimes you see the blessings and they're all around. Sometimes there's nothing wrong and you're breathing just a little lighter. Oh, but on the flip side round, I'm telling you, sometimes you're down. Oh, sometimes you're down. Oh, 'cause life gets a little hard sometimes. Oh, sometimes you're down. Oh, you can't find no reason, can't find no right. Oh, sometimes you're down. Hey, you're wondering if the sun is ever gonna shine again. Oh, sometimes you're down. Yeah, you look around, you can't find one friend. Oh, sometimes you're down. Oh, just wondering what you're gonna do. Oh, sometimes you're down. Ooh, with all that you're going through. Oh, sometimes you're down. And don't you know you can rise up to, rise up to. On the flip side round, oh, sometimes you're down. Yeah, but on the flip side round, sometimes you're down.
That's a beautiful song, David. You're a beautiful human. Thank you.
Hey man, thanks for having me. And you know, Seamus, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your heart towards fellow human beings. But even more than that, I think is your heart towards this area, this city. And to see the impact that you're having is humbling. You know, it makes writing tunes seem trivial. So I appreciate your work and the way that you emote yourself, and you know how you express yourself in your love and your passion. So stay at it, brother.
Thank you, Dave. Likewise, I could say the same to you. We're all, I mean, if there's, we've been talking a lot tonight about solidarity, and everything you just said is what we're both trying to achieve here, is understanding that we're all in this together and we're all interconnected. And that song, I think, speaks to a lot of people's feelings, you know, in general, but especially right now. So keep it going, brother. And will you give a virtual hug from me to Laura?
Will do.
Thanks, man. And so before we let you go, we are going to play the Rise video. But you know, I always like to close when we're standing on stage together, saying like, where can we see you next? And we know, I was laughing with Sonny, we know where we can see you next if you're doing any more of these. So like, when and how can we see you again?
Yeah, I think probably my next I think is kind of one of these kind of things, and I don't have all the detail on it yet, but I think Ray Berry is doing an event, and I think it's going to be kind of for first responders or people like that to kind of benefit them and cheer them up. Going to be doing a song or two for them. I think that's going to be airing later this week. But if you go, obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, but you can, catch our page, Facebook page, MillerandTheOtherSinners.com, or DMM Music. You can see posts there, and we'll make sure that, as we spin up this stuff, as I talk to Mark to understand what I got to do to make this work right, we'll be spinning up and doing some shows here from the house. And other than that, we're probably talking CD releases in the fall, or whatever. We're just going to have to see how things go in terms of getting the band out there playing again. Looking forward to it and want to bad, but we got to wait till it's the right time, and out of respect for everyone and the music. So yeah, we'll get there.
Yes, indeed. Well, we'll keep in touch this way and any other way we can in the meantime. Thank you so much, Dave, for joining us, and keep it going. Keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Love you, brother. Peace.
Peace.
So we're not done with Dave, because we're going to play his song Rise that we began this video with, and with an expectation that some folks just tuned in late, and maybe we'll see it on the way out. We took some beautiful footage that was on YouTube from Slow Rolls past and set it to David's song live complete with the choir, like he said he has recorded with, and we're going to send this home. And I know that a lot of folks out there, especially the squad, will laugh at the thought that for a planner, I can be a terrible planner sometimes. I hadn't planned how we're going to end this. I just thought that the party would keep going, right? And I laughed with Mark that we'll do this all night if we can. We'll just keep bringing musicians in, and we could, and maybe we will in the future. We have plenty lined up for future weeks. But just in closing, before we kick back to this video, I will not be able to thank all the people who I should. But I want to thank anyone who's tuning in here in the present, anyone who did for the past few hours, and anyone who is in the future. We're going to leave this online. It's hard not to be able to gather in person, as we've been talking about. It's our mission to gather people, and it's my preference to do it in person, and we just can't do that right now. As we're talking about solidarity, that's the understanding that we can't. That's the understanding that if you go out to ride your bike in a crowded park, that first of all, maybe find another place to ride. And if you are amongst people, whether you're in a park or in a grocery store, wear your mask, and clean up after yourself. We're going to clean up after some people on May 18th with our de-litter roll, but we would rather not clean up after you. Don't be a COVIDiot and get too close to people or throw your garbage on the ground. So I'm going to keep rambling here. I just want to really thank everyone who's involved with this. Our presenting partner, Independent Health, for keeping our wheels turning right now, and as they have since 2015. Thanks, Mark, for producing this. And it's good to have the Band Together Buffalo handle on this. We're going to keep presenting music with the after party. Thanks to everybody who joined us in this broadcast from the beginning, with Rebecca and from Go Bike and Rawa from Push. And I'm not going to do the romper room thing and name everybody right now. But it is our mission, Slow Roll's mission, to connect communities by bike. We can't do it all together right now, but we are going to do it. We're going to be creative. We're going to be nimble. We're going to be helpful. We're going to be respectful. And we're going to have fun. These are all the things that we strive to do already. And we can do it still in this moment. So with love to everyone who is hurting right now, we are here in any way we can. I will repeat what we're going to do for this month, what we announced tonight. Tonight was our first virtual roll. Again, thanks, Mark. We only had a few little hiccups. We pulled it off. I hope anybody's still watching here 3 hours in. We are going to continue now that our season is up and running. Happy opening night, Slow Roll. We are going to turn our attention to our next virtual roll, next Monday, May 11th, will be our solidarity roll with Push Buffalo. instead of all gathering at 429 Plymouth at Push's headquarters, we are going to gather in every other way but all together in person. And for the next week, you can tune in through slowrollbuffalo.org and all of our social media channels for ways to support Push, to support Slow Roll, to get involved. We are talking about solidarity, not charity. We are not holding out our hands, nor are those for whom we're delivering food through Queen City Couriers, through Push Buffalo, through Feed Buffalo. We are holding our hands together in solidarity with an understanding of our interdependence. For the next week, we'll be focused on that. And next Monday, we'll come to you live together again with Push, and we will talk about all the things happening at the Mutual Aid Hub. And I'm counting on Squad to help us as we mobilize to support the Mutual Aid Hub. We'll come, that's their new operation at 429 Plymouth, delivering essential services, essential goods, food, and household supplies to people who are homebound. And then we'll create a route, and we will ride throughout Push's orbit. And we'll go past, like Rawa said earlier, the Net Zero House. We'll go past 456 Massachusetts, where Drea is now operating as Feed Buffalo. And we'll bring Drea on if she's available. Hey, Drea. And then we'll have an after party, and we'll have music, and we'll have fellowship. And we'll again raise our glass to all of our local purveyors providing beverages still to people, especially those distillers who are now making sanitizer. Then on May 18th, we'll turn our attention to our D-Litter roll, and we will gather Slow Roll Squad. Instead of gathering everyone at Silo City, as we had planned, we'll go a little bit farther, and we'll take the Outer Harbor. Slow Roll Squad will spread out on the Outer Harbor and clean it up. And we will work in coordination with Miss Ada Hobson Clemens, our steering committee member, who's also leading the board of Buffalo Block Clubs. And we will reach out block by block around the city of Buffalo, and we will line people up for a great delitter roll. The Great American Cleanup was going to happen in May. It has to be suspended, of course, and appreciate that the city is open to this idea, and hopefully we'll be working with them hand in hand. That's May 18th, the delitter roll, and then on May 25th, and for that week leading up, we'll turn our attention to the Naval Park and our Memorial Day roll, which always draws a big crowd at the Naval Park. We will draw a big crowd for the Naval Park, and we will gather here again online, and we will tell the stories of fallen service members, and we'll tell them, we'll bring on their fellow veterans, their family members, and they'll tell the stories. And for the whole week leading up to it, we will support the Naval Park, whose funding comes 98% from tourism. And that's obviously not happening now. And the Naval Park is a vital service for understanding the sacrifices that have been made and understanding how those are still going with us. I'm hearing music in my head right now. That sounds good, Mark, but I ain't ready. We will do our part to honor Memorial Day on May 25th. We're not going to do any planning beyond that for June, because why would we? Speculating about the future much beyond the present feels pretty silly. We're going to stay together in this moment. We hope you will all stay with us. We appreciate so much the following we have for Slow Roll, the thousands of people who gather every week in solidarity to connect. That is our mission, to connect communities. We needn't have a massive weekly bike ride to connect communities. But in order for us to fulfill that mission, I could talk at the screen all night, you know. I'm happy to. My friends know that. But we need anyone who's listening to actually engage with us in any way that you can. So please go to slowrollbuffalo.org. However you're consuming this now, if it's Facebook or YouTube, check out the other stuff we have there. Reach out, as we've been saying on those videos. If you need help, and maybe we can help, reach out, let us know. If you have a way that you can help, and maybe we can help amplify it, reach out. Our squad is making masks. We're running around food. We have so many ways that we can work together. It's going to be a while before we get through this, but we're only going to do it together and without being too cliche about that. We have to understand the solidarity of the moment and of communities in general. This is how community works. It ain't easy. We can do it. So we're going to keep coming to you as long as you keep watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks again, Mark, for producing this and bringing this to everyone. And thanks again to our presenting partner, Independent Health, for the support that helps Slow Roll keep the wheels turning. We'll be in touch again soon. Peace.
For bike lovers like Peaches Hunter and her granddaughter,
I like riding bikes.
it's time to rejoice. Slow Roll Buffalo is back for the 2019 season.
Come out and get a bike and just ride.
And
just
ride
come out
the
and
bike.
just ride to have fun.
Directions to Freedom Wall.
We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of the Freedom Wall. A year ago, it looked nothing like this with vines and very abandoned, but now it is a site to see, a destination to reach and visit, and also an opportunity to always educate other people.
Sometimes feel like I'm an old oak tree, just so bound by earth law of gravity, with my grounded feet just so very heavy that I just can't reach the sun. Sometimes see me as a sharp-edged stone. I was still born from mountain shed and fell below to be born by wind and sliced up by snow. Such a numb and lonely one. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no hand that could hold me down. I hold me to the ground. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no rope that could keep me bound. Ain't no hand who could hold me down. Ain't no hand, ain't no hand. Sometimes seems like I'm a cloud-bound town, built of man-made steel and a human power, braced to carry on, stand for years by hours, but can never own the sky. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no hand that could hold me down. My home ain't the ground. Ooh, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna fly. Ain't no rope that could keep me bound. Ain't no hand who could hold me down. Ain't no hand, ain't no hand. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. Gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. No, gonna rise up in the morning. Gonna rise up, can't hold me down. What I feel it just comes and goes as summer flies and winter snows, but knowledge is as knowledge knows a deeper truth that goes and goes. fly.
Go fly.
Ain't no hand that could hold me down. My home ain't the ground.